Hello internets and welcome to a Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle. You can call me 12-pack and the battle I have today is against someone called Mycon. Little history about this battle before we get started here. I'd actually encountered this guy 2 or 3 days ago and he was using the exact same team as he is now, only my own was significantly different and I considered it to be a lot better equipped to tackle his team than the one I'm using in this battle was. However, I wound up losing that match because he managed to take out all of my powerful attackers that had any sort of priority moves and saved his Mawile for last. And I was down to my Chandelure and one other poke I can't remember, and he was just able to OKO both of them with Sucker Punch. So I wound up losing that battle. And then today I encountered this guy again, and it was only when the battle started when I realized, oh shit, this is the same guy I fought a couple days ago in that battle I lost. And then I was like, oh man, my team is just nowhere near as good as it was beforehand, and I lost that battle, so how am I going to manage to do this one? However, after some careful consideration, I thought, hey, wait a sec, if he's using the same sets and strategies as before, I can use that to my advantage and hopefully win with this team. And as you'll see, I equipped myself rather well and play pretty good at the same time. So, well, that's pretty much the same thing as the other. But anyway, moving on. Team preview here. My team, I've got Utility Shuckle with Knockoff, Encore, Stealth Rocks, and Sticky Webs. He's specially defensive set. Choice Specs Chandelure. I normally use Scarf on him, but this game I decided to use Specs because I have Sticky Webs on the team, so he should be able to outspeed anything anyway with max speed, timid nature. And then I have specially defensive Noctowl, who I've never used before, but I really wanted to because almost nobody ever uses him, and turns out Noctowl is actually like really good. You'll see he puts in some work this game in a time when I definitely don't expect him to be able to, so that goes over nicely. And next we have one of my absolute favorite pokes to use, Tangrowth, and I love using him in conjunction with another one of my favorites, Audino, because the two of them together, both of which have Regenerator, are just really trolly. You swap back and forth between the two of them, spreading status ailments and just uh, recovering health with Regenerator for days. So yeah, the two of them put in some work this game too. And then finally I have Caracosta, who is a Life Orb Shell Smash Aqua Jet set. And he does pretty good this game too. So my opponent's team, well, nothing really too standoutish to comment on there. If you don't know what any of the stuff he is using actually does, you probably don't play the game very much and shouldn't be watching this video anyway because you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. So anyway, with that, let's get started here.
Mycon is issuing a challenge. Nah.
So he leads off with his Azumarill, and I lead off with my Shuckle. Now, last game he did not reveal to me that he had belly drums, so predicting him to just want to go for an Aqua Jet, I decided to go ahead and set up sticky webs. But that wasn't a very good idea because now he's able to get up belly drum and I was unable to lock him into it with Encore. I should have gone for Encore first turn, but because I messed up, he would have OKO'd me had I not had Sturdy, and my Shuckle is rendered pretty much useless even with the 31 HP I recover with Citrus Berry. Not sure why I got 31 HP instead of 30, but it probably has something to do with the rounding. Anyway, I lock him into Aqua Jet with Encore in order to get this safe switch into my Tangrowth and not take any play roughs hits from him because that would do a massive amount of damage and I need to get those resisted hits in order to force this thing to switch out. So I do just that by damaging him with the Rocky Helmet and he is forced to pull out. So I go for a Sleep Powder hoping to put to sleep whatever he sends in. But okay, sorry, I'm getting a little ahead here. There we go, Sleep Powder, but he dodges it, unfortunately. But that's not too surprising because Sleep Powder has like horrible accuracy. So anyway, he paralyzes me and I miss a second Sleep Powder. So I'm like, oh fuck, well, what are you gonna do? And he pulls out and swaps to Togekiss, probably hoping I miss a third time or else get paralyzed haxed so that he can OKO me with an air slash. But this time I actually get lucky enough not to have either of those things happen and manage to put the Togekiss asleep. So I pull out with Tangrowth and send in Caracosta to hopefully set up some shell smashes on this thing while it's asleep and do some solid damage. So he pulls out, giving me a free turn to set up, and brings back in Klefki, doubtlessly wanting to neuter my speed with Thunder Wave. And I get off the Shell Smash here, as I said. Yeah, we know about all that. See, this is why I'd like turning battle animations off, because it happens a lot faster. So I go for the Aqua Jet, hoping I will OKO him and outspeed his Prankster Thunder Wave, but I only do about 50% damage, and he is able to get the Thunder Wave off on me. In retrospect, it probably wouldn't have mattered what I did there, because if I had gone for Waterfall, I ran the risk of getting paralyzed first and then not being able to attack at all. So I'm starting to take some pretty heavy damage from the Dazzling Gleams, and he's recovered enough health with leftovers that I won't be able to OKO him with, well, sorry, to hit KO him with Aqua Jet anymore. So I make the safe play and pull out into my Cleric, the Audino, and this Klefki is not going to be able to do anything to me. This is one thing I love about Audino, and as you'll see, this guy has no idea what it's capable of, and he wants to try to Toxic stall me out here. Yeah, there we go, Toxic. But there's not really any reason to use Audino unless you're going to run a Cleric set on it, so I Heal Bell and cure 3 members of my team that this Klefki has just been spreading status elements around like a STD. And with that, he realizes there's nothing really he can do with this Klefki since I will just heal off any status elements he puts on me and he can't do any damage with his Dazzling Gleam. So he's going to pull out, even as I pull out, and bring back in my Shuckle, hoping he's dumb enough to go for another status ailment, and maybe allowing me to set up Stealth Rocks. But this guy's a little smarter than that, and he sends out his Mawile. And poor Shuckle runs into another poke, the only other poke on his team that's capable of knocking him out in like one hit. So at this point, Shuckle is pretty much just fodder and is forced to be abandoned and die. Now, right there, he could have conceivably got a Swords Dance up because I would have used Stealth Rock had he gone for that, but I think he was afraid I would lock him into Swords Dance with Encore, so he made the safe play by Iron-Heading me. So I send Tangrowth out, and this part is a little funny because even though Tangrowth's speed is like base 50 or something, I'm still able to outspeed Mawile after the Sticky Web speed drop and get the Sleep Powder off on him. And yes, I know I violated the sleep clause right there, the Smogon rules, by putting 2 pokes on his team to sleep at once, but I couldn't really do anything else to deal with that Mawile because of Sucker Punch and stuff, right? And interestingly enough, if you use a priority move against Sucker Punch and your base speed is higher, it will nullify the Sucker Punch, which is something I had never actually had happen before. So I send out my Tangrowth, and he does almost, like 50% of damage to my Tangrowth with the Play Rough with no boosts, which is pretty crazy. But fortunately, I'm able to land 2 successive Sleep Powders, and I'm going to attempt to repeat this whole strategy with Caracosta again now that I know this thing's defensive capabilities and realizing I cannot OKO him without a Shell Smash boost. So I'm going to pray that he doesn't wake up this turn and allow me to actually set up so that Caracosta can hopefully put in that work once he enters the beast mode, and he can put in work. Believe me, Caracosta is definitely a threat. Surprised he's not in a higher tier, really. So fortunately he doesn't wake up, and I'm able to KO him with Aqua Jet. I could have used Waterfall there, but had he woken up and used Sucker Punch, I would have died, since I have pretty much no health left now. So I'm running out of time rapidly from the Life Orb recoil as he sends in his Klefki. But realizing, well, I wasn't actually sure if I could OKO him with well, two-hit KO him with Aqua Jet after a Shell Smash boost, even with the double damage I gain. So I just made the safe play and go for Waterfall because um, it didn't really matter one way or the other since I'm about to die from Life Orb recoil no matter what play I did. So he sends out his Azumarill, and why he didn't go for Aqua Jet here, I don't know. He could have just picked me off and not taken any damage from my own Aqua Jet, as I wind up dying from Life Orb recoil, unfortunately. But maybe he was thinking I'd swap into Audino because he used Superpower, thinking maybe I wanted to keep Caracosta for later, but why I'd want to keep him on 6 HP, I don't really know. So I send out Tangrowth and finish off this Azumarill. I find it kind of amusing that I'm faster than Azumarill as well after the Sticky Web drop. And why he didn't go for Aqua Jet there, I don't know. He would have killed himself from Rocky Helmet recoil, but hey, he would have done at least a little bit of damage to Tangrowth, although I would have easily recovered it with Regenerator once I swapped out. And here I get a little cocky and try to do some damage to this thing with the Hidden Power Ice, but Tangrowth's special attack is not the best, and Togekiss's special defense definitely is the best, so I get unlucky. He wakes up and OKOs me with Air Slash, ending Tangrowth's part in this battle, which is unfortunate because he would have been pretty useful. Well, actually, no, he wouldn't, because everything left on his team is a special attacker, and Tangrowth has shit all for special defense. So I send out Noctowl and get very lucky there when he goes for a Roost instead of attempting the Thunder Wave and crippling my Noctowl. So I'm able to phase him out with Whirlwind and pull out his Gardevoir, which isn't much better of a matchup for Noctowl than Togekiss was. And here's where you'll really start to see the bulk of Noctowl. That is a Choice Specs Gardevoir I know from last game, and Noctowl tanks that neutral Moonblast with over 50% health. Like, there's not many pokes that can do that, honestly. So Noctowl is just going to roost up here, recover that HP, and realizing he can't KO me with any one attack his Gardevoir has unless he gets a crit, assuming I keep using Roost that is, he swaps back out into Togekiss to get the Thunder Wave off on me and then flinch hacks me out. Or at least that's what I would do. As you'll see, he never gets the chance to actually bring that to fruition because I pull out with the Noctowl and bring in my Audino. Now, I don't have anything really that can handle this Togekiss at this point. All my physical attackers are dead, as are all of my pokes that can do super effective damage to it. So my only option here is to attempt to stall it out with Toxic with the Audino, and I was highly doubting my ability to do so. Because he just went for Nasty Plot, making his already high special attack with Life Orb and up to the obscene levels of being able to OKO anything on my team. But fortunately I don't get paralyzed there and I'm able to get off the Protect, but he double Nasty Plots, so that's even worse. Now he's definitely going to OKO pretty much everything on the team. Well, yes, everything on the team. And I'm not able to double Protect there, so I take a massive hit from the Air Slash, but I prove my own statement wrong there, and Audino tanks the Air Slash at +4 special attack Air Slash from Togekiss. That's just ridiculous. It shows you the bulk of Audino. He's just, like, really good, really underrated. Anyway, I'm getting really lucky, not getting paralyzed, and able to put out those Protects to gradually wear him down with the Toxic build-up. But he's just going to roost here because he knows that if I get a second Protect off, he will die on the following turn from the accumulation of the Toxic. But I get paralyzed this turn, and he is able to shortly KO me with... Hang on a sec. No, I'm able to get the Protect off. My mistake. I have one more turn of Protect stalling here before he KOs me. And because of that, he chose to use Air Slash there, and I protected. He loses a large chunk of HP to Toxic, bringing him down to the level where he will die. And instead of roosting there, he decides to finish me off, finally coming around to the pattern I'm using with Protect. And he dies in turn from combination of the poison damage and life orb recoil, which wouldn't have mattered at this point, the poison damage being so high now. So we have a repeat matchup of Gardevoir versus Noctowl, and in any pretty much any other situation, my money would have been on Gardevoir to win this battle. But as you'll see, Noctowl, underrated gem, just taking the hits like a boss. As I drop some Nightshades on it, that's pretty much Noctowl's only viable attack since he has horrible special attack, and Nightshade's flat 50 damage is actually pretty useful. So you see I'm able to 3-hit KO Gardevoir with it. And now he sends out Clefable, and at this point I'm like, oh boy, if this is the frickin' stored power set, I am screwed because he's going to boost up his special defense, and if he keeps alternating between stat boosting moves and Moonlight, he could get up to +6, and then OKO Noctowl, and then when I send in my last poke, Chandelure, I will not be able to OKO him, even though I have specs on, because his special defense will just be at insane levels, and then I'll lose the match. So I was like, oh boy, this could be the end right here. But as you'll see, he underestimates the bulk of Noctowl once again. After getting 2 Calm Minds up, another one this turn, he will attempt to attack me shortly as I'm just dropping Nightshades for days, hoping I can actually wear it down enough to force him to use a Moonlight and not another Calm Mind. So he goes for the stored power at +2, and look at that. Noctowl took barely anything from that. And I'm able to drop another Nightshade on him and just about kill him, but he Moonlights at the last second and is able to recover that HP. And I just continue to lay on the Nightshades. And here he goes for Moonblast, maybe figuring he can take me out in one hit, but I live miraculously with 3 HP. Noctowl, just so good. And in turn, take out the Clefable on the following turn with my Nightshade. So, yeah, that's the end of the battle. I feel like I played really well that game. I still had a Chandelure left with full HP, although, in all honesty, Chandelure wouldn't have been able to do pretty much anything at all against his entire team because, let's see, I have one super effective attack against both Azumarill and Klefki, but other than that, everything else on his team, well, and I guess Mawile too, I could hit with Fire Blast, but he would have always won that matchup with Sucker Punch, as happened in the first game I had with him. So Chandelure is pretty much useless, except for Death Fodder. It was Noctowl that won me the battle there against like a really solid OU team. And yeah, I did get lucky here and there with the Paralyze on my Audino not happening, and plus I put 2 pokes on his team to sleep. But in all, I feel like I acquitted myself really well, given what I had to work with on my own team. So yeah, a really good game, Mycon. I enjoyed that quite a bit. I hope to battle you again, especially now that you're on my friends list. And hopefully I inspired you to use some NU pokes you don't see very often. Maybe even Noctowl. I don't know how he survives the hits he does with the stats he has, but somehow he can, so don't underestimate him. He's pretty good. So with that, I believe that's all I have to say for this one, so thank you all for watching so much, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.